What's up, guys? How's it going? We have a very special guest today. Um, Ben, or better known as Greaves. He got himself
Muted.
muted. Yeah,
Hey,
there
here
you
we go.
go.
Okay, I'm back. I'm here.
What's up, guys?
Nice.
I'm not sure how many of you got to check out his stuff, but he's definitely been one of my favorite artists for a long time. Um, if I would have told my younger self this, like back in high school, that I'd be interviewing you, I'd been like, what? But,
Which is so bizarre. Like, it's such like a simple thing. Like, it's just asking questions, and I feel like we should be accessible to, everyone should be accessible to everybody, especially in that way. So
I agree, man.
I'm
Honestly,
happy to be here.
makes big impression on people. So,
Well,
uh,
especially now, right? Like, with the whole world revolves around the internet in good and awful ways. So it's like, oh, where did I go? I
oh,
disappeared.
oh no.
Shit, why you gotta kill me out like that? She's like, never mind. Interview's over.
Why
This
did
guy's
it?
gone.
Is it? Oh, it's because I
Hey.
moved my. I was changing the scroll on the screen. All right, well that's weird. Good to know. Sorry about that. Okay, here's Greaves. Goodbye. Thanks for coming.
Damn, that was super easy
That was
interview. I'll
quick.
see you guys fucking next year.
Alright, so for those of you who don't know, Ben's a hip hop artist based in Seattle, Washington. Um I have a little command set up if anybody misses it to check out his stuff, check him out on Twitch.
Nice.
And we've got some of his instrumentals playing in the background right now. But yeah. So for those of you who may not know, can you explain your title, Greaves?
Man, so I don't really know. Like, I started this whole thing when I was so much younger, and to be honest, I didn't think that it was actually gonna be a thing. It was just us like rapping, making beats and DJing. I used to think I was hip hop as shit, so I was trying to do everything. And I will let you know that it did include breakdancing and graffiti,
Oh
and it
shit.
was not tight. It's not fucking tight. But we were fully immersed in hip hop at that time, and so I thought that the best way to participate and all that would be to start battling. And my roommate at the time was doing a lot of battling, and he was signing up for battles, and he was rapping at other dudes about how stupid they were and whatever battling is. And
I didn't know you did that.
well, it was a
That's
very
awesome.
short-lived. It was a very short-lived battling career. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm kind of a sensitive creature. And not super into yelling at dudes or being yelled at by other dudes. So it didn't really work out for me. But I tried a couple times. And for the first one that I signed up for, I didn't have a rap name, and it was like for the radio station was hosting it. So I went in and I signed up for the battle, and she was like, "Well, what's your name?" And I was like, "It's right there. It's Benjamin." And she's like, "That's your rap name is Benjamin?" I was like, "Oh shit, lady, I don't have a rap name." Like, she's like, "You should totally you should have one. It's probably better that people don't know your government name when you're doing that, or whatever, whatever you want. But maybe go think if you want to use a rap name or not, and then come back." And so I walked around the block a few times, and I had been dabbling with the graffiti, and I was writing Greaves, which, if there's any graffiti heads out there, terrible letter combination for graffiti. Just a whole lot of letters that don't look all that great next to each other. So that didn't really work out. But I chose that name. I went in. I got smoked up in like the first or second round or something. Like, I just froze up and couldn't say anything.
Oh.
But I kept the name, and I used it, and as things kind of started, as I got more immersed in the local scene here in Seattle, it was the name that I was using, and what's the point of changing it? And then 2007, I unexpectedly, my career took off, and so I was locked into the name. I was dialed in, and here it is. And it's funny because the name has gotten me a lot of like maybe flack, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
when my record came out, when my big record, Together Apart, came out in 2011, and it was like right after I had signed my record contract. uh I got my first Pitchfork review, and also my last Pitchfork review. But I was like so excited, and I read the
Oh,
review, and the guy just decided to assume that since my name was Greaves, that I was just like this emotionally tormented, very intense human being, and like didn't even listen to the record, and just broke me down as a human being, and like pretty much did an
dude.
interview on who I was, even though he never met me or talked to me or interviewed me or anything.
I hate
Um,
that shit.
yeah, me too. That was like kind of at the beginning stages of Twitter, so I definitely like hit him up, and I was like, "You live in New York? I live in New York. I'm gonna fucking pimp slap you next time I see you." And that didn't work out very well. Um, but it has definitely added like a connotation of, in hip hop, people are supposed to be, it's
Yeah,
very
right?
bravado. It's a
Right?
very bravado art form, and here comes this 135, 140 pound white dude with the name Greaves, who like plays piano and shit in his songs, and uh, but at the same time, I feel like it's made me accessible, and
It's what sets
whatever.
you
It's
apart, for
it's a
sure.
soft ass name, and it works out for me.
That's interesting. It's funny, like it just kind of flowed. Like that's kind of same situation for me. I didn't plan for this to be like my handle. I just like I love like Japanese culture and stuff, so I threw my name into a translator and I just
Oh,
shortened
really?
it. It
No
was
shit.
Sutafani Aruzu because my name's Stephanie Rose, but I just shortened it to Sutaruzu, and nobody knows how to say it anyway. But yeah, it's funny
Yeah,
how
I'm
that
not
just
gonna lie. I
sticks.
wasn't gonna say it. I wasn't gonna say it because I didn't want to butcher it, and maybe I'm just like completely missing something. Like it's like some sort of like character from something that I'm not hip on, which is definitely possible.
No, just
Oh,
something I stumbled on.
I see what you're saying now, that my avatar is this little woman.
This little
I,
blue girl. Does anybody
yeah,
know who his avatar is? I kind
I'm
of thought
keeping
it
her.
looked like something from Legend of Zelda, but I don't know. It's so small.
She's cute. I'm keeping her. It fits with my soft ass name. And my little blue dress.
So going on, like how talking about how people kind of form opinions before they know you. If you could only describe yourself in 3 words to someone that doesn't know you, what 3 words do you think you'd use? I know this is kind of a hard question. I thought about sending you the questions over early, but
Oh no, this is always better to do it on the fly.
raw
Um,
dog.
100% that bitch.
Oh hell yeah.
Um, I don't know.
It is three
Let's,
words. Well, a number in
yeah,
2 words.
let's see. I would say different than expected, which I think leans to kind of what we were just talking about, because I think the name definitely does add kind of an association. Let's reference that fucking Pitchfork review.
Yeah.
Um, and I do think it has actually held kind of a flame to the music that I make, and I have released music that is a bit on the edgier side, and I've gotten people going, uh, I miss Sad Greaves. I miss Greavy
That's
Greaves.
fucking tough, man, because it's part of you for sure, but it's not your. It can't be your whole life.
No, it's not my definition, and
Yeah.
and here's the like number one answer to like that kind of, or here's the response to that is I don't miss the Sad Greaves. Like I don't miss that time in my life where it was like, now granted, there was a moment where kind of all the bad things happening to me allowed me to seek refuge in my creative outlet, and that
100%.
that created a lot of cool art, and but it was all, it was a lot of vulnerable shit and a lot of sad stuff and a lot of really open and honest stuff, and as I got older and as things got easier, naturally I won't be talking about those things, and if I did, it wouldn't be authentic like it was. um so I am different than I think people expect, especially when they meet me in person and it's like I'm laughing all the time or I'm joking around, like, and it seems to be like a common thing like meet and greets. People are like, "Oh, you're like a lot more lighthearted than I thought you would be." It's like,
Yeah.
when did I do I just give off this like looming idea that I'm just like this dark brooding fucking, yeah.
Like this punk kind of standoffish dude. No.
Talking about those things, creating that music, um, has allowed me to live a pretty happy lifestyle. And like when I do that, when I write songs like Rebecca or Falling for You or Falling from You, that's done for me. Like that's my nail in that coffin, and I get to be done with it, and um, I get to feel good again. And so I think that's why there's a lot of like music like that from me, because before I ever knew I was going to have a career, I always used music as my outlet, kind of as therapy.
Yeah.
um and so now I've been blessed, um and tormented with the fact that my outlet is my also my livelihood. It's my job now.
It's tough. You're like being vulnerable to the world, like, and people are already like sizing you up, making judgments and shit, or expecting you to be a certain way just because of a, couple years or however long period of your life that was. It's not your whole life, but
No. And it wasn't even my whole life then. It was moments. It was
right.
moments that um it was my job, like whatever people do to kind of help release um fear, anxiety, pain, sadness. We all have our things that we go through, um to kind of exercise those things, or get rid of those things. And music has always been, for me, it's always been that for me.
I feel like it's
And
gotta be a blessing and a curse because, like, it's definitely relatable. I feel like that could be hard on you too because people will especially be like, "Oh man, like I relate to you." Like as a fan versus, you're just being a creator. They feel like that much more connected to you, which I think could be good and bad as an artist.
it can
But
be, it can get a bit uncomfortable, we'll
yeah,
say, um
I'd imagine.
because when you relate to somebody, when you create something that has been the soundtrack for maybe somebody else's really hard time, you can become associated with their healing, which sounds like a really good thing, right?
I mean, it
Um,
is, but
it's very
yeah,
intense, and it does mean that people expect you to be a healing force in their life forever, and they expect you to be a healing force when they meet you, or they expect you to be what they expect you to be at every given moment of your existence, and that is hard. um
yeah.
i I kind of have a rule that I don't communicate with fans on a personal level like that. Like, I've
They'll
gotten
start pouring their life story out on
ton.
you.
Oh
Be like,
yeah,
oh,
like,
this song, and I was going through this, and they'll start telling you their whole story. And that's a lot when you got so many fans. Like, I don't know, it's really hard meeting people, I feel like, to like remember everybody and to like take all of that in.
well, I can talk about music and I can talk about relativity, but I do have a hard line on when it comes down to personal life issues and personal life problems. And um, I've said it in a humorous way, but I also mean it very literally. I am not a licensed therapist.
Right.
I do know that I've created things that have helped you in ways, but I am not actually educated in the complexities of your emotions enough to be the person that you want to talk to about this. And I am a
Right.
strong proponent for you to have those conversations, but I do think that you need to have those conversations with people that are trained to listen to you and trained to guide you through those complicated and complex emotions. And I'm not that. I'm 100% not that bitch when it comes down to that, because and I do, we've gotten, like, over the years, just, a slurry of suicide things, and pretty much, like, things that are like, if you don't talk to me, this is gonna get a lot worse.
That's so.
And
That makes me so upset, man. It's like,
but I disagree with that statement from them, because I think that if I do start talking to you, it's gonna get a lot worse, because I don't have the time in the day to talk to you all the time. And when I stop talking to you, which I will eventually, that's when it gets worse.
yeah.
That's when it becomes the worst for you. And so I've always kind of created, I love communicating with the people that support me, but I love communicating with them on a level that supports kind of, healthy communication, where we have boundaries, and we
Yeah.
don't expect too much from each other. That's some adult shit. Y'all hear that?
It
That was
really
adult shit.
is. It's also nice because at Twitch, like, you can't have private conversations with everybody, but to like bring everybody here for a little hangout and like get to kind of be on a more personal chatting level is kind of cool, I would think, as an artist, because you get to
Yeah, I
reach out
love
to
it.
these people and it's personal, but it's not one-on-one personal, you know?
No, and it is, like, I think the cool thing about Twitch is it's kind of a peek behind the veil of when it comes down to artists, like, people that we really like or look up to or respect or appreciate, or anything like that. It's kind of it's kind of the peephole into their personality that you don't really get all that much of. Even, you think about social media, that has been a peephole into people's personality, but it's also entirely scripted most of the time, and planned and prepared. So it's not, some people just run wild with their Instagram, and they're, like 50 Cent, like, that motherfucker's posting like 20 times a day, and like posting memes, and just saying weird shit all the time. Like, all right, cool. Well, we've been knowing that Fafi is a wild one, but, you know, I think this this platform has been such a wonderful kind of sample of a lot of people that producers and stuff that I follow on here. It's been really cool, and it's kind of educational. I'm, like, learning shit on here. I fucks with it.
Yeah, I saw you were on here. I think it was maybe in Suggested or something, and I was pretty stoked. I was glad I got to jump in. It is. And you know what? Maybe doing this will ward off that like expectation that kind of people make in their head. They kind of, I don't know. They'll know you more, like, instead of just having this formed opinion.
Yeah, they're like, damn, I see this guy twice a week on Twitch and he's like drinking and talking shit.
So,
which is a lot of my time.
yeah, gotta have some fun once in a while. Canopy just dropped about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So how's that going? How's that being received, do you think?
I think it's been pretty good. Like it's
different for sure.
It is definitely different. It's different as shit.
I like the lo-fi kind of vibes though.
Yeah, and so I've been listening to like a lot of that, especially over last year when I was locked down, and I don't know, I just didn't have the words last year. Like I didn't have a lot to say. I wasn't there. Like, you know, earlier we were talking about creativity and those moments in my life that, you know, kind of spark into my outlet. And although I was contributing to my outlet last year, I didn't have words. Because there's so much going on, and like,
it was a hard year.
It was a fucking hard year, but everybody had a hard year, right? So I also
had a hard year.
Yeah.
I didn't have any, like, I did couple costumes, but before COVID, I was doing a costume, like 1 or 2 costumes every month. And it was just,
So
I think it was hard as artists across the board.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know. So it was extremely scary, right? Like at first, it's like when they started closing things down.
Yeah.
It was like, oh shit, I'm fucked. I was on tour when this whole thing happened. I was 6 days into a 2-month-long tour. We had a bus. It was sponsored by Astro. It was wrapped. Our name was on the motherfucker. Like, I had bought $40,000 worth of merchandise that was in the trailer, and like we were ready to rip. And then 6 days in, they're like, "Hey, you got to go home. It's all done." Like, and so, you know, I had a kid on the way. That was like my nest egg. That tour was going to be my nest egg so that I could be home for a year. And like, you know, that was my maternity leave. So I could be with my family and just chill. And so when I came back, I was fucking petrified. And I made a lot of moves last year. Like, I got out of my record contract because I was like, if this is how things are going to be for the foreseeable future, I don't want to give away half my money anymore. Like, I don't want to be a whole lot of things. And as you know, management was like, we need a record, man. Like, you got to have something ready for when this is over so we can tour it, because I don't think you can just keep touring Running Wild or Mr. Nice Guy. And I was like, okay. And, you know, I sat down to start make music, and Canopy is what I made. And
I feel like this album, although it's not like typical for you, I feel like, and it might not be like some of your fans that are used to your other stuff might not be as like hyped about it, but the ones that, you know, the true fans will be, obviously. But I think it reaches a lot of different audiences because I feel like lo-fi is such a big thing across the board, and so like you don't have to worry about lyrics as much. And I think it's really good driving music. Like,
I think it's really great. Now, I don't mean to like toot my own horn or whatever, but I think it's really great like ambiance for anything. And I've said it before, but I think it's art to inspire art, or art to inspire life, or art to inspire tranquility. Like, whatever the hell, it's perfect for the background of whatever the hell you're doing. And when I finally composed it and had it back to back, I was like, oh shit. Like, I actually really hit the mark that I was aiming for. And although I haven't emotionally
what? Did we just become best friends?
Lyrically and emotionally added things to this like I normally do in my records. I have created an emotional experience. I hear it, and from the response is I've definitely seen people following that kind of journey that I created through the record, because to me, even though there's no lyrics on it, emotionally there's no difference from that or anything that I've ever made. It has the same kind of linear journey that most of my records, all of my records have, except for like the EPs where I'm just like, here's some fucking songs. But it, from start to finish, it has its peaks and valleys. It has its ebbs and flows, and I think that's a lot harder to do without lyrics. So I've been pretty excited about it. The response has been good. It's also, there's been some people a little confused. They're like, wait, so like, are you gonna rap on this now? I'm like, nah, this shit's done. It's
Yeah.
like, it is released. It's clearly I'm not gonna rap on it because you have it now. It's
You
like
gotta switch
here
it up
now.
once in a while, like, and explore different avenues and stuff within your art, or you're just gonna get fucking burnt out.
Yeah.
You gotta try
Oh,
new
hell yeah.
stuff.
Look, this is another part, and I think that is something that I came to a realization last year, is like, you guys know me for one thing, but I am not one thing. And I'm not gonna be one of those artists that's like, now buy my handmade pot holders that I latch up myself or what it, like, I'm not gonna convince you that all art that I make is great, and I'm not going to get
Yeah.
hella weird on you and do weird artsy shit for the sake of being fucking artsy, because I hate that shit. I get it. I'm not gonna do that to you. And I'm not asking you to treat this like my other records. I'm not asking you to accept me for being a producer as well. But I am asking you to allow me to exercise things that have gone into my previous art, because a lot of people are like, man, I really like the beats that, Budo did on this record, and they'll name some beats that I made. Like,
Yeah.
I made those beats, and on a lot of the records I made with the beats, and I've produced for so many other artists, and I don't ever talk about it, right? So all I want to do is just be able to share that with you, and in a world where we demand more content, I want more shit from you. Like,
Yeah.
the past two records that I've released, I have literally released the record, and then on the release post, people will be like, "This is dope. When's the next one coming out?"
Oh,
And they're not
Jesus!
playing.
Oh
And they're
my
not playing
god!
around. And you're just like, I don't know, dog. 3 years maybe?
Yeah, give
Is
me
that
some
good for you?
time.
And so for me, it's like, look, I need life to happen for me to kind of fill up my pitcher to pour that into what you guys know as like my rap records, right? But this is a really good way for me to have more art in between, where I can create these curated musical experiences like Canopy. And I'm not saying this is all you get now. I'm just saying this is something you can also have now. And if you choose not
Exactly.
to like it, that is on you, and I fully support that. Because I'm not relying on things like Canopy to fully support me. I'm just adding that to my little Swiss Army knife of shit that I'm doing now. And
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get out there and show my ass on TikTok or anything like that. So I'm gonna just make more music, because that's what I do.
So, what would you say are your top 3 most popular songs, and do you still enjoy performing them? I always wondered if y'all get tired of performing those hits.
Well, I'll skip to the second part of your question and go, yeah, hell yeah. Definitely get tired. Hold up. I'm gonna real quick. I don't know if I'm hosting you on my channel, and I should be.
Yeah, go ahead. Somebody in here asked earlier how do I know Greaves? I don't know him. This is just the first time I've spoken to him.
That's
But
not true. We went to space camp together, and I don't know. It's been a crazy wild ride.
but
I'm almost there. Sorry.
no, you're good. Thank you for the host, Bailey.
Host. We hosting.
Hey, thank you for the host, Greaves.
Hey, no problem.
Chee.
Okay, so top 3 most popular songs. And what was the and do I get sick of performing them? Which is yes. And I would say On the Rocks, Lightspeed. I mean, they're all off that record pretty much.
Yeah,
Although you can
this
say
record.
things you can say I Ate Your Soul is up there, and I am so sick of playing that song that I actually don't play that song anymore.
Yeah.
And then, although it doesn't represent in numbers, and it does, I mean, it's got pretty high numbers, but Sunny Side of Hell's a big one off that. So it seems like that record has like the big ones, but then there's Winter and the Wolves has Kidding Me that people always want to hear, and then What It Do is a big one off of Running Wild. I'd say that even though that's more than 3, if I had to pick one from every record, I would say On the Rocks, Kidding Me, and Running Wild, with the auxiliary of I Ate Your Soul that I'm just not going to be playing for a while. But
yeah.
I do
just
get
feel like
sick
it would get
them.
to a point.
It's exhausting, but
yeah.
that is why we can flex this creative muscle a little bit and do shit a little differently. That's why I like playing with live musicians when I tour. That's why I like kind of recreating things. When we play Scar Gardens now, which is off of Irreversible, we've kind of stripped it down to like the very like bare sample, and then we just like erase the song for a little bit and like do like a piano part, and then we do this big epic fucking build up where it's just like this like wall of sound, and then it just explodes at the end, and like it's me talking about like I got some emotional baggage, so you probably don't want to be with me, but it's more like
yeah,
if you weren't listening to the lyrics, you would just be like
I think that's the best part about seeing artists live, though, is like that little like change up they do once in a while to like kind of go off script. And
yeah. And that is why, like, when you hear that happen to your favorite song, it's because those motherfuckers are sick of playing that song.
Yeah.
And it I'm able to find inspiration and energy for the music a lot when I'm touring, because although a song means something to me when I write it, I'm not necessarily the most direct writer. I'm not like, the knife is black, or I got a knife right here, or the headphones are tan and brown. I kind of describe it differently in a vagueness, to me, that allows it to be a little bit more open-ended. And I have discovered through touring that these songs mean just a whole bunch of different shit to everybody else, and that energy keeps it new for me. Like when we do the meet and greets, and when we meet people, or when they run up on you after the show or something like that, and you talk to them about the music, and they explain kind of how it's it's been a companion for them, their life. It adds all new energy to the song, and it helps it stay fresh for me, and I've always really appreciated that. And since I haven't toured in like a year and a half now, like I wonder that's gonna, I wonder where I'm gonna get that energy from when we start again.
Yeah, I definitely gotta catch you sometime. You're like one of the last on my like favorite artists that I haven't seen live.
Well, we don't come to Ohio a lot.
You don't?
I mean,
I'll make a trip
I'm
out if you're
I
in a
like
neighboring
Columbus.
state.
I like Columbus. Uh, but I don't do very well in Ohio. I think we played Cincinnati with Watsky like a year and a half, 2 years ago,
Mhm.
and that was a really good show. But you know, it was Watsky's crowd, not mine.
Well,
So
hopefully you start doing better. I posted all over my social medias about you. I hope at least brought a couple new listeners. But
hey!
hey. But so aside from popularity, what would you say is like a song that means the most to you personally, and not everybody else? I mean, maybe everybody else, but
Um, well,
or
I think that kind of changes. Um,
yeah,
yeah, because there's songs like
for
there's a
different
song,
reasons maybe.
yeah, like okay, so here's an example. There's a song called Vice Grip on Together Apart, and it was kind of talking about struggling with um, addiction and substance abuse and stuff like that, which is also, you know, it's a subject that I've kind of dabbled around, although I am not in treatment and I don't seek it, um, but I think there's times where maybe I should have, um, and I think those songs are me like maybe checking in with myself. And I look back at those things and I remember writing that song. It was in the back of like a suburban driving from South by Southwest to like Colorado or something like that. And I was like hungover and I was, you know, I had flown this girl that I was dating at the time out, and I realized I didn't really like her, and we had like a really bad time at South by Southwest, and it was just like really awkward car ride, and I just like put on some headphones, and I probably wrote that song in like 40 minutes, and it's like, you know, 3 verses. It's a pretty long song, and I'm extremely impressed with myself on how detailed I was about that idea, and how honest and pure and real and raw that it was. Um,
I feel like
and
you
I,
just gotta ride those waves. Like, as an artist, you can't, like, when you're at a low, you can't, like, force shit out of you. It's not gonna be good. Like, when you feel it, you, like, know. It's, like, coming on, you go for it,
yeah, I mean, it was just like
just
some sort of
comes.
explosion that happened, and I'm not like that. Like, I don't normally do that. Like, it takes me a while. Like in the
Yeah.
studio, like I'll write verses in segments of months sometimes. Like I got shit that I've written down months ago that I might come back to and try to finish it, like a verse here and a verse there, and then, you know, I kind of ran out of gas on that energy, so I need to like refill the tank a little bit and come back to it. So, you know, to me that song means a lot because of how just like like I didn't think about it, like it just happened, and I do wish that I could do that more, and I do look back at that song a lot and be like, well, you were able to do it here, like what made you be this way? And there's no answer to that question, but I do
Mhm.
appreciate it for that. And I think I when I look back at songs and I think about what means the most to me, it's songs like that, like songs like 5,000 Miles, where I wrote, um, you know, I recorded that whole record in Stockholm, Sweden, and I, you know, I was just like jet lagged. The whole experience of writing that record is fucking blur to me, because I was just jet lagged as shit, and I don't really like traveling alone, and traveling internationally alone is like just a one massive panic attack for me. So I was struggling a lot with that. So I was feeling super off kilter while writing that record, but I got a lot of really interesting music out of that, And I remember this was the last session, and the producer I was working with was caught up with something else, and so he was upstairs dealing with that. So I was down in the studio, and I just had this little parlor guitar, and I just started recording that little guitar line. And by the time he had come down, I had written that whole song just to that guitar loop, and then we changed it around a little bit, but it was another very like artistically just pure, there it is, here it is. And I think it's my first positive love song. It's
Aw,
like, I think it's
hey.
my first like, hey, I'm not shitting on the idea of love anymore. Like I'm welcoming to the idea of love, and I'm starting to see in my artistic lens, I'm starting to see and be inspired by the happy parts of love that don't feel corny to me, because that's the other thing. When I start writing about shit like that, I do feel like I'm getting a little corny,
Yeah, I
and
can see that.
I don't want to do that. So I want to be as raw and honest about my good feelings as I am about my bad feelings, and to have
Mm-hmm.
them both live in the same space. And
I feel
that's
that.
pretty hard for me to do. But that was a step um, in that direction.
Do you recall a moment when you were just getting started that was like was there like a definite, like you're like, oh, this is it, like that make or break? Or was it
Yeah.
just kind of like a slow climb, you know?
Well, I would say that there were slow climbs to that moment, um, because there's the idea of wanting to do something, and then there is maybe the education of what it takes to get to that point. But this is like almost, it's not pre-internet, but it is like early MySpace days. Um,
Hell yeah.
and I've been doing it. I've been
What the
doing it at that
hell?
time.
Oh no,
Oh,
your
did my
screen went.
camera just take a dookie?
Intermission.
Dee! Look at that. It looks cool though. Shit.
It is Pride Month.
There it is.
There it
I did that on purpose.
is.
See if that fixes things. There it is. I'm back, baby.
Music is
Yeah.
playing out of order. I wanted it to play in order. I'm gonna play Canopy.
Okay, get it.
Turn off the random. All right.
I forgot where I was.
The make or break.
Oh yeah. So there wasn't like, we didn't have a lot of shit to compare ourselves to other than the people that we looked up to, like big international artists and stuff like that. But that seemed so incredibly unachievable, right? And then
Yeah.
we were looking up to a lot of the rhyme sayers dudes, because that was like this like grassroots movement that we could understand, because we were doing that too, but we had no idea how to do it on that level. um so it was like this local hustle, and a lot of people like kind of tackling each other to get to some weird higher spot on the local spectrum, which so stupid. And we're all working against each other instead of working with each other. And
Yeah.
I remember just saying fuck it, and we started like a studio. We were trying to get on all these shows. We couldn't get any shows because we were supposed to pay dues, but how the fuck are we supposed to pay dues if you won't let us pay dues? And it was like it was this like frustrating gatekeeping situation. So we started like knocking on the doors of venues, and we got this venue owner to agree to let us throw a night that ended up becoming like pretty successful here in Seattle. And from there, we were able to build with like smaller scale national artists. And then all of a sudden, our dues were recognized, and but then we were like, "No, fuck y'all! Like we're not. We're doing our own thing. We're not doing your thing. You wouldn't let us do your thing. Now we're doing our
Yeah.
thing."
You're damn right.
Um,
You had
and
your
so
chance.
you had your chance, but looking back at that, it's the same energy. Like we're fighting against each other when we should be working with each other. um and so we built this studio. And we started recording a lot of the people that would come through that night, and we started building our own kind of little local community. But at that time, like in Seattle, no one had tapped into like a market of fans that were actually like kids or like like people that go to like locals.
That's
You would throw these
huge.
shows. You would throw these shows, and it would just be like a whole bunch of other rappers like staring at you and just judging you and hating you, and it was like the wackest shows because you would be like trying to get energy out of these motherfuckers that are like, man,
Oh,
I'd
oh,
be
I see what
better,
you're saying.
I'd be
Damn.
better than him, and so
Uh,
it was a lot of Buster energy going on, and I I started booking these tours off of MySpace. I started hitting people up. I was like, all right, we got to get out of this energy. We got to start, going
yeah.
elsewhere. There has to be something more than this. And, we were doing that. We were struggling. It was all just kind of like flat.
Yep.
And then I got offered to go on tour with Atmosphere in 2007 as a DJ and driving the tour van for the openers. And I was not a DJ, but as we discussed earlier, I had dabbled in all elements of hip hop and had, I had retained a few of my skills on the unos and doses. Um, so I went, and I said, okay, well, if I am driving the van, and this is my van, so I'm driving the van, which means I'm kind of paying for the van. Um, you guys aren't giving me any money, $0. This is a long ass tour. It was like 2 months. I'm gonna have to leave my job. My boss was a badass, so he was like, yeah, you go.
Hell yeah.
And so I went. My manager helped me out a lot. But we said, hey, this seems like a whole lot of effort from us and nothing from anyone else. My camera just cut out again. God damn it. Why is it doing it to me? Does it just hate me? Is that what's happening?
I don't know.
Here, I'm gonna try something else.
Might be overheating.
No, never. It's not even hot in here today. All right, we're turning the camera off and turning it back on again. Classic.
Yep.
Classic.
Good old cams.
But anyways, I mean, even though you can't see me, you can still hear my wonderful voice. Hey.
There we go.
So let me switch over to here. So we said, hey, if we should ask for some shit, because if we don't get it, then like, okay, maybe they go, you don't come on this tour. But there's not a lot of benefit in us going as just a DJ, right? Like, I'm not a fucking DJ. Like, I just put out Irreversible. It had just come out. It had come out in July or whatever. And so we're like, all right, well, if I'm driving everyone and, you guys are riding in the van and I'm DJing for everyone, then I should get to rap on everyone's set who is benefiting from me being there. And I just get to
Absolutely.
do one song or one verse or whatever it is, but I should get a little moment to show everyone that I am not a fucking DJ.
Yeah.
And they agreed, and they let me do it. And then we also hit up Rhyme Sayers, and we're like, we would like to be added as Greaves, like, to the bill, not like, I want my name on the website, on the bill. And they also agreed to that, which was awesome. They didn't need to do anything. And so we printed 10,000 demos of Irreversible because it was already out. And my experience in kind of the local market and the touring that I had done is that no one's going to buy anything from me because they don't know who the fuck I am.
Yeah.
And I'm only giving them a small window of what I can do by like rapping twice throughout the night or some shit, right? So I should give them a small window of what I do, but I shouldn't give them the whole record, right? So I put like 5 songs as a sampler from Irreversible out, and I handed out face to face, hand to hand conversation with every single person. I wasn't like standing at the door being like, take this, take this,
Yeah,
take
yeah.
this, take this. I met 10,000 people on that tour, and I gave away 10,000 demos. I had 10,000 conversations. Um,
That's so
and
smart to not
and by
just
the
hand them
time,
out. Because people
no,
are gonna
no,
like
no way.
throw them. They're gonna be under their car seat or whatever. You know, it's the
Yeah.
people that you have conversation with.
Yeah, we did the math on how many to give out a night. We would cut it back for smaller cities and boost it in bigger cities. I wore bright clothes so people knew that it was me from the stage. I wore these bandanas with animal
So
mouths
smart.
on them. It was really weird, but you know, I made myself very noticeable for when I was walking around in the crowd, and then I also said, well, this is my chance to meet people at Rhymesayers. So I was jumping behind the merch table. I was helping load in. I was helping load out. I was helping set up the stage. I was showing that I wanted to be there.
Definitely,
And
Bailey.
while everybody else would show up to the venue and go to the green room and start drinking, um,
You're busting your ass, dude.
I was like, yo, I know this. I went to audio engineering school. So, like, why did I say that's a word? Audio engineering school. I went to audio engineering school, and so I know my way around the equipment, and I left a very noticeable imprint on those people. And at the end of the tour, like, Slug had not said a lot to me pretty much the whole entire tour, and then at the end we did back-to-back nights at First Ave, and he was like, I'm seeing what Jaybird's saying about you, and here's my number, give me a call if you're ever in the cities, and yada yada yada. And he took my number, and I did call him when I was coming through the cities, and then he was like, hey, I'm filming this little video for When Life Hands You Lemons, would you want to roll up to my house and like be in it? And I was like, cool. So I was in like a promo video for that, and I was living in New York at the time, so um and I had kind of gotten involved with another record label that really just didn't have my best interest in mind, and really kind of taken advantage of me, and had taken advantage of the idea, like, oh, this is the guy that was willing to drive the van and do all the work, and like, would you want to come and
Mm-hmm.
do that for us? And I was
Yeah.
still in that mode where I was like, well, yeah, if that like helps me get on, then I will come and do that. um and when I didn't want to do that anymore, a lot of respect was lost. So I parted ways with them, and I was feeling really kind of taken advantage of, I think, by the music industry, and I wasn't feeling good. I didn't have a lot of like positive
Good you
things
knew
going
your
on in my
worth,
brain.
though. Early on,
I
you knew
knew
your worth. You can't stay in that spot forever.
I knew my worth, but I also knew that I wasn't capable of achieving certain things without the help of other people, or certain um, things, which is like back then was a distribution deal. Like, you needed to have that distribution deal. We were selling records in stores still, like, this was not Spotify was not even in the United States yet. It was still like a
Mm-hmm.
Swedish concept. Um, so we didn't have that. We had just like Pandora had just fucking happened.
Oh,
So
yeah, dude.
you needed physical distribution deals if you wanted to get some exposure nationally, and you, those were really hard to get. And if you weren't partnered up with a label or something like that, they weren't just taking anybody, you know. So I was like, damn, I gave it a good run. I tried. I got real close. I was like, I got real close, gave it a good run, met a lot of cool people, did some cool shit. Um, but I'm starting to think that the only way for me to do this is for me to just like get taken advantage of all the time, and I'm out of that energy. So
Yeah.
I think I want to be done. And this is after I left that label, and there was like a lot of like hostility from the label, and they were like sending people to my shows to like try to fight me and shit. And dude put like a fucking bounty out on my teeth, and he's like, if you get any of the front two, I'll give you like $100 or
Oh my
something like that.
god.
And of course, like nothing ever happened. Like a few people showed up, and I was like, "Okay, so you guys are just mad at me for like working for no money and like not getting paid for the records that I made?" And
Yeah,
they're
like
like,
where's
"Oh
your
wait, that's the
argument?
deal." They're like, "Oh, that's what happened," and I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh, damn, we were gonna fuck you up." It's like, no. First of all, no, you fucking weren't. And second of all, why are you even here? Like, you paid money to, like, you low key kind of want to be here, dog. So let's cut the bullshit. Cut the bullshit. Um, so I called a friend of mine, um, and he was signed to Rhymesayers, and was like, I was expressing to him how I felt, and I was telling him kind of what my plans were, and he was like, "Well, if you're gonna do that, then you just have to have a conversation with somebody that can provide the things. God damn it, that can provide the things that you need, um, that you think are hopeless." And I said, "All right." And so he patched me in with Sadiq from Rhymesayers, and we started having conversations. And I don't know why my camera keeps doing that.
I know, cause
Shout out
you
to Sony
stream.
for,
Like I
yeah,
don't
this
know
shit
what.
never happens. I don't fucking know. But we started having conversations. I ended up cutting a contract end of 2009, releasing my first record with them in 2011, and going on this like big um, journey. Um, and I would have, this is a long-winded answer, but I would say that I think two things were the incline were that tour, that 2007 tour, and that conversation that I had,
It
and
all
the
roots
willingness.
to, if you don't ask, the answer's always fucking no. Like,
Yeah.
what did you have to lose? Like, I mean, that's it right there. You got your
Well, I
name on
didn't.
the fucking. You just gotta put
Yeah.
yourself out there and like go out on a limb. What's the worst that could happen?
Well, I had no way to contact these people. I was just like, I was just expressing to a friend that I was done. And he was like, "Dude, you haven't even started yet. What are you talking about?" And patch me in. And, I achieved a lifetime goal. I became a legend to myself, which is pretty cool. My idols became my peers. Um,
Yeah,
I
that's
think
fucking
that's like
awesome.
such a high caliber of success, where your idols become your peers. And I've seen things on the internet. I've seen like motivational speakers and shit. They're like, when your idols become your competition. And I'm like, no, that
Yeah,
sucks. Like,
no,
I don't want to
peers.
compete against the people that inspire me. I want to contribute. Um, I want to contribute to that energy. And um, so, yeah,
Definitely. Um, let me see here. Cause we've hit on a handful of these. Who are some of your favorite artists? Like, who are you inspired by?
like
I mean, I guess
across the board, hip
like
hop.
growing up early, like an early influence maybe, and then like now.
Oh, oh, this goddamn camera.
It's
Um,
alright. At least your mic's working, that's the important part.
hey, and I'll just keep turning this thing on and off.
I hope you
Um,
don't break your camera.
I hope I
Oh,
do. God damn it,
just get a
Sony.
new one. Upgrade.
I just did.
Oh shit.
Um, so I mean, come on. I'm a young kid doing, obsessed with hip hop in the 90s, so Wu-Tang, baby. And like it was Wu-Tang, motherfucker. And Colin's my manager. He's lurking in here somewhere, and he mods all of the streams that we do. Um, but like Wu Tang, holy shit! Anybody that fucked with Wu Tang could get it. Like we were all the way. We loved anything Wu Tang related. And Colin had like, I don't even know how he found all this shit, but his CD book. Back in the day, the caliber of a human being was determined by their CD book. That big
Mhm.
fucking cushiony,
Oh
fucking zip
yeah,
open,
dude.
he had it all fucking alphabetically ordered with the album cover slip behind it, which in hindsight I think is scratching the
Damn.
shit out of the CDs, but like
Yeah.
he had fucking everything. He had all the Woo affiliate syndicate shit, like just fucking everything. And we collected Wu-Tang CDs like they were Pokemon cards, all right? And y'all were probably out there collecting Pokemon cards, and we were listening to Wu-Tang. We were collecting Wu-Tang CDs. We were saying words that we didn't know what the meaning were, and honestly, still don't. Like that Wu Dun language shit, like I don't even know what the hell they're saying half the time. I don't know why Ghostface or Raekwon's always talking about like shrimp and lobster and pasta and shit. But I mean, I like those things. I just never would have thought about rapping about those things. But you go on, you go, King, you
You do
go,
you.
King. Um, but yeah, we love that shit. But at the same time, that music is not a reflection of the life I live, right? Like, which is probably why I like it so much. But there was something about the samples, hearing the samples of music that I had heard, from like my dad or in passing and shit like that. And I think that's kind of like where I first kind of figured out how it worked. Um, and just really being interested in actually making hip hop music. And but finding an inspiration to make hip hop that more pertained to what I was doing didn't come around until I started discovering more of the independent artists, like all the Def Jux dudes, like well, now LP um, from the Jewels, and but back then there was Rhymesayers and there was Def Jux, and it was like that was the holy grail of independent, hip hop. Um, and those two labels were like a big thing growing up, and going up. But I found a lot of inspiration in that, and then I found a lot of inspiration across the board. Back then it was like a lot of people was like, it's either East Coast or West Coast. What do you fuck with? And I was like, I kind of like it all, because like my first shit was like I was super into Ice Cube. I love West Side Connection. That fucking Bow Down record, I can word for word that whole motherfucker. Uh, like on the drop of a dime, like the whole record, not the song Bow Down, the whole record. Um, it was um, it was my shit, and so I was like taking all these different influences, and then we discovered living legends and the visionaries and hieroglyphics and all this shit from the West Coast that didn't have that West Coast sound, as far as like Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, like all that stuff, or any of the Bay Area stuff. At that point was like E40, and I don't know how gangster you guys are, but fucking Spice One, of course, Too Short, Short Dog, like kind of pimp rap shit. Like it had its own identity that sounded kind of like what the Rhymesayers were doing, which was Midwest. So you had West Coast, Midwest, and then that was sounded just like kind of what the Def Jux guys were doing. So it was this like non-coastal sounding thing that no longer exists, but like it was just this kind of open-ended fucking hip-hop shit. And it was no breaks since then. It was okay, like I gotta figure out how to make beats, I gotta learn how to dig records, I gotta start getting my drum chops right, I gotta everything. I was like reading about these people like it was folklore and shit.
I think
And
that
then I
like
get to be surrounded
reflects
by
in
them.
your music a lot too. Like, I mean, you've got some of your beats have like all these different instrumentals, like even like little blips from old songs or sayings. Like, I love all that incorporation. It's like refreshing. It's not like the same shit all the time. I feel like it's
Yeah,
different.
well, so since I've gotten legally involved with a few samples
Oh,
that
oh,
that I've used in the
yeah.
past, and that's about as far as I'm gonna see. I've been censored. That's about as far as I'll say about
No.
that. But since that, I still love sampling. I love the idea of it, and I love the inspiration that comes from listening to other music and kind of making your own thing out of it. So now I'll just go on YouTube and I'll just like listen to like the other day I found a playlist of like funky like Brazil 70s Brazilian folk funk, like
Yes.
she was sick.
Hell
And I was
yeah.
just listening to all these like different melodies, and then it sparked something. I was like, oh well, they're doing this, and they're like counter melody with like a acoustic, like a nylon string guitar with like these like dampened pianos. I want to do something like that. So then I'll set up something over here. I'll go get clearly you can tell I was doing it because I got the freaking nylon string out, and I
Hell
was
yeah.
just like working on like trying to find it, like how can I make it sound not like that, like I'm not copying
Right,
their melody, but how
obviously.
can I create a similar ambiance. and
Mhm.
and so that's been my way of sampling now, is like I sample kind of the ambient, like I like that sound, how do I get that sound, and so I'll just start fucking around, and I got all this shit.
Yeah.
So and I always need
Hello equipment.
always needing something new to help me get to the next level with that idea. But um it's been fun, and Canopy was a kind of a pretty strong dive into that realm because I had been listening to a lot of lo-fi, and then of course I started like reading about like just really all these dudes are just sampling like old jazz piano. Like, are we not just running out of jazz piano samples at this point? And then I started kind of getting more into the producer culture of it and following different like lo-fi producer um, pages and forums and stuff like that, and seeing like, oh no, we're making old records from scratch, here with our computers and shit. So
Mm.
I started adapting those techniques. I love being in the studio. I love turning knobs and pressing buttons. So um, I was doing a lot of that over the quarantine time, and oh, my camera just said, nope, we're
It's
done.
like
I'm
fuck
done.
you.
I'm done playing with you. I'm sick
I
of playing with you. Well, that
wonder what it
sucks.
is.
Oh, hold up. I got a better idea. I mean, it's not gonna look as nice.
If you got like another webcam or something.
Oh, you know I do.
Hell yeah. We'll go back to like old school. I'll turn my
Here,
old cam on too.
here we go.
Oh wait.
Wait, what happened?
At least there's a little icon of you now.
Wait, it just kicked me? Oh, you're gonna have to, since I changed cameras, you're probably gonna have to do
Oh,
something to me in
there it
Discord.
goes. And we get a new angle too.
Hey, yeah, it's here. Get a little-
There we
Here we
go.
go.
Alright.
Um,
So, what's
yeah.
assuming you're a dancer, what's a song that will get you out on the dance floor? At like a wedding
Hey,
or something? Like,
oh,
what song?
whiskey will get me on the dance floor at a
Oh,
wedding.
yeah, that too. But,
I am not. Look, I can rap and I can do some funky stuff, but I can't dance, and that is the true whiteness of me comes out on the dance floor. Um, it's a whole lot. I move my body, but that's why I need the whiskey, because I need to not care.
yep.
I need to not care, and I wish I had the ability. I actually idolize dancers because to me that is such like a free. That is the epitome of like I don't give a. Is when you are just dancing your ass off, and when you're like good at dancing, it's like, damn.
I don't know about good, but me and my friend, we be out there getting it.
Yeah, I like I said, whiskey, and then at that point it doesn't really
Doesn't
matter.
really matter, yeah.
Yeah, you could be bumping Jewel, I'd be out there.
Do you have any other goals or ambitions outside of music that you're working toward, or maybe a few things at the top of your bucket list?
Uh, I do. I mean, inside of music was like definitely wanting to like step into the producer role more, and I think I did that with Canopy, and I think I allowed people to know that I'm doing that now, which is awesome. And then outside of music, I mean, be a good dad, you know, like try to maintain and provide for my family and not be away all the time. I spent the past 15 years touring my ass off,
Yeah.
um, and you know he's priority number one. Um,
Good on
I
you, man.
I want to be everything that he needs me to be. So I want to be able to fluctuate um, for that. Um, but I do want a life in music, and I think that isn't just me being Greaves. You know that my life in music doesn't pertain to you knowing who I am or anything like that, or praising me or validating me. My life in music just is as simple as it sounds. Like my life in music could be me doing something musical, and that is a very wide realm. You know, I had mentioned earlier that I'm super into like studio stuff. I'm really into the tech side of things, and I would love to get into like plugin development or you know working helping develop gear. um, would be, I think, something I could see myself doing for the rest of my life. Um, because I'm just constantly impressed by the new shit, opposed to like a lot of musicians where it's like, it'll never sound as good as the old, you know. I'm like, no, technology is making music more accessible, which means we're getting music out of people, both good and bad, but we're getting music out of people that we would have never gotten music out of, and that's allowing us to have some really great music as well as some really bad music. But I don't need to focus on that because there's always been bad music, so I just focus on the good that comes out of it. And I would love to contribute to making things that help people make music better, easier, faster, more efficiently, more creatively. I'm into all that shit. Um, you know, it could be anything in that realm, even if it's just teaching music or, you know, I went to school to be a teacher. I dropped out to do the rap shit, but um, you know, kindergarten is what I like. That is what I wanted to do, was
Aw.
to teach little kindergartners.
Yeah.
Um, and my path took a different direction, uh, which I'm super grateful for because I don't think I would be very happy doing that.
Yeah.
Um, and so you know I fulfilled a wild dream of mine, and I got to do all this crazy shit, but I don't think that's something that I get to do for the rest of my life. I think I still get to release music and have people listen to it for the rest of my life, but I can't be on the road 6 months out of the year. I can't be doing it like I did it um forever. No one does, no one can.
Right.
um so where do I go from there? I just hope that I could have a life in music, wherever it is. But you know, first and foremost, I want to be there for my son. So
This kind of goes right into that. Do you think uh he will have any any part of music? Do you think you'll have him learn any instruments, or do you not really want him? Would you not hope that he goes down that avenue, or
I want
like
I'll
what are your
whatever
feelings on that?
it's whatever he wants. I definitely am not going to push it on him as like a legacy, you know.
Yeah.
um but there's a lot of things around for him to be interested in, and if he wants to be interested in them,
Yeah.
then I encourage, you know, I will support any energy that he throws towards um music. But you know, my partner, his mom is also very creative, in a different realm. She's a designer, um And so if he decides to, if he wants to start drawing the insides of houses like she does, and placing furniture for millionaires, then also cool. Whatever he wants to do, like,
I
honestly,
feel like
if he
that's
doesn't like
the good
any of that
answer.
shit, if he doesn't like any of that shit, that's cool too. Like, if he is into trucks, then I guess I'm gonna have to learn how to work on car. Like,
Aw.
I'm down for whatever. I'm down to ride. Whatever he wants to do, I'm in. And if, my lifestyle allows me to have the time to do that, it would be wonderful. Um, you know, my dad is awesome, but he wasn't around that much because he was working his ass off so we could have what we needed. Um, and I want to find a balance between that. So
I feel like, in a sense, with all that being said, you're gonna be a good dad.
I hope so. It's a scary thing,
I
because
can't imagine.
we it it is so hard to not think about the trauma of your own childhood, or whatever, like the shit that could have gone better when you were younger, and just like it just becomes this like nightmare for you to, like, oh, I can't be my mother, or I can't do this, or what if he becomes this, or like, I remember I woke up in the middle of the night and I was like, what if he's a fucking serial killer? What happened? And it's like all these
For
different
real though,
like
like what
things that
if?
like just go through my head, and I'm just like, ah. So there are so many thoughts and so many different things, and like, honestly, every day provides a new opportunity for me to fuck up, and it's just, I think the best part would be, to be a good dad would maybe to fucking relax a little bit, um, let things happen, and that's
I
kind of where
agree.
I'm at with this journey. And he's still young, he's like almost 10 months, and he's like changing every day. So I shouldn't worry about who he's going to be as a person yet. I should support who he is now, which is like this
I wish more people
ever
had that
changing
mindset.
petri dish of a human being. Um, well, it's
Yep.
hard, because we tack on the pressure of ourselves. We don't want our kids to go through the shit that we went through, and we think that we need to start immediately on putting that pressure on them. Like, we just gotta relax. And I could be wrong too. I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
I don't think
But
anybody does.
no, I was
We
so
try.
confident before he came. Before he came into this world, I was like, I got this. And then, like, 3 months later, I was like, so does anyone ever sleep, or do you just stay up for the rest of your life until you die?
There is no sleeping. What was one of the coolest shows you've ever played, and one of the hardest shows you've ever played?
Um, first winter show ever at Red Rocks was pretty fucking cool, because it was my first time playing Red Rocks, but it was also the first time they had ever done a show in the wintertime there. So it was monumental for two reasons for me, because I got to make a little bit of my own history for finally playing a venue that I've, grew up going to shows at and really wanted to put my foot on that stage forever. And then I also got to make literal history, and like my name's on a fucking plaque there, because we
Oh
did the
yeah.
first winter show. So that was really cool and exciting to think about. And some of the bigger festivals, my first like international show was a really big deal for me. um you know the first time I ever headlined internationally, and like going out on stage in Paris and seeing like a shitload of people and being like, oh my god,
That's
like
gotta be
there's
such a
like a
cool
lot of
feeling.
people in the room here to like, and we don't even, like, I don't think they know what the fuck I'm saying, but like that was really cool. um uh hardest shows, um, I could go two directions. One that I think of, which was also like it turned out to be really good, but it was also overseas, and I had been sick the whole tour, like really sick, and I don't cancel shit. So I was like, well, let's go. Like we're already out here, and
Did we just become
you
best
know when we
friends?
tour internationally, we lose money. We
Yeah.
just I've never done a European tour and come home with money. I've never. And so I was like, well, we're fucking here, so you know, let's do it. And by the time we got to Manchester, I had an infection in the left lining of my lung,
Oh
and
shit.
we were flying to every show, and as we like flew into Manchester, I thought that like my lung was collapsing because it like hurt so bad with the pressure. Um, so I went to the hospital, sat there for fucking hours, and nobody like I had like an IV in my arm. They kept sending like students in, and it was just like this wildly unorganized situation to the point where I was like, fuck this, I'm about to miss the show, I'm out. So I like took the IV out and I started walking down the hall, and they're like, whoa, 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 stop. They're like, hey, you have an infection in the left lining of your lung. And I was like, how long have you known that? Like, I've been here for like
Yeah.
hours. I've been just sitting back here. Like, you could have at least like sent me back into the waiting room so I could go chill with Colin. Like, I've just been sitting in this room in this shitty little folding chair for fucking hours. And they're like, oh,
I
we
hate
got
that
super
shit.
confused. We need to take blood work. I was like, you've already taken my blood. You've already taken blood work. And they're like, ah, shit, we don't know. We need to take it again. I was like, no, I'm out. And I like start
Yeah.
walking. And so the doctor chases me down the hall. He's like, look, you have an infection in the left lining of your lung. I'm going to write you a prescription um, for, you know, what you need for it to subside, but you're going to be in some pain for a while. And so I left there, went straight to the show. It's just so much pain. And I'm gearing up about to play for like an hour and 20 minutes of me just using my lungs.
Right.
And uh, so the only way for me to do it is I drank a whole entire bottle of Jameson
Oh shit.
between me and my keyboard player, and we got completely fucking schlackered. And it was so hard because I was in so much pain and I couldn't think straight at all. And I don't know if Colin's still in here, but I don't think I skipped a word. I don't think I missed a beat. I think I was, and that's impressive for two reasons. Because I wasn't thinking at all. I was in a completely different world. I had all my energy still, but I was also completely fucking wasted.
Yeah.
Like I was more drunk than I'd ever been at like on stage, and like shouldn't been able to talk straight. I felt like I was killing it. I might have been one of those things where
Yeah,
you think
yeah.
you're walking straight, but you're like, whoa. So I don't fucking know, but like that was a really hard show, but it was definitely like memorable, and people were super happy, and it was fun.
Sure, they were just excited to be there and
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean it was, and they were just happy that I didn't quit. And I still had like the hospital bracelet on and shit, and I looked like shit. And it was just like all
Yeah.
bad. And then I'd say the other realm of that is like I've played shows where literally nobody showed up. Like, and
Yeah.
just me playing to the bartender. And the bartender's pissed because no one's buying any booze because there's nobody there. And I'm supposed to get booze for free. So it's, you know, I hate those. And I remember playing a college show one time where it was this very bizarre, it was a rap battle for the Ethiopian Student Union. And it was very weird, very bizarre experience. They were all holding, like everyone was holding the mics like down here, and they were like a lot of anti-gay stuff getting thrown around. Like it was
Oof.
super fucking weird, and we were all like, what the fuck are we doing here? And like the guy that was in charge of it like booked us to play the show, and like in between shows there were these rap battles, and by the time it was time for us to play, literally everybody had gone, even their sound guy, because we had our own sound guy. So it was just us and that dude that booked us, and it was a lot of money. Like it was over $10,000 that we were getting paid to play the show, and so we were like, do we really need to play like
Right. I
dog,
mean,
you could go home early, I could go get some sleep. And he's like, you gotta play. He's like, you gotta fulfill your contract. So we
yeah.
sat and we awkwardly played this fucking show to that dude, and it was so
Oh
weird
my god.
and just hard. But we wear in-ears, and our sound guy could talk to us in the in-ears, and he's like, all right, it's just like rehearsal, boys. It's just like rehearsal, boys. And so we were just fucking around, and he was like
Yeah.
talking to it. It was a good time, but it was like, shit was hard. I've also had
Yeah.
shows where I was getting booed the whole time.
What the fuck?
I toured with this
Yeah.
group called Pepper, and they're like a punk Hawaiian punk band that leans more on the reggae side of things.
Yeah.
And I remember being in Orlando with them at the House of Blues, and they were just chanting Pepper's name throughout like my
Aw.
whole set, and just fucking booing me like a motherfucker.
Damn. That's rough.
And all I could think about is like, I don't know, I could jump the barrier and maybe hit like 4 of these dudes before I get like completely swarmed. Like it was just like instant rage mode. Like
Yeah.
I could definitely get a few of them before security really fucks me up. And it was like all I could I was just like fantasizing like jumping the fucking guard barrier and just like, yeah. But I had cut my set short. Like I was just so pissed, and I was like,
Yeah.
"But this is our last song," and they're like, "Fuck you!" And I was like, "Ah, damn it." Um,
Yeah.
those are hard. It's hard to be professional. And if you show your weakness, if you show that they're getting to you, then they win, right? So you got to end on a
Yes.
high note, and that shit's just so hard.
I get that shit a lot in chat, man. Trolls, you just gotta
Oh yeah,
ignore that shit. Don't feed them.
no, don't feed them, and especially you, like being female, like people decide that they can just turn that shit all the way up, which is super fucking frustrating. Like,
Yeah.
you know, sure you could give me some pointers on how to end on a high note, because yeah, it's fucking hard, and the internet is such a fucking terrible place.
It really is. I feel like it's a good thing you're not on TikTok either, because I feel like that platform has some of the most trolls of any platform I've ever been on.
Well,
But
I'm also running out of patience, which is why I don't need another social media site for me, because I'm like a couple more social media sites for me just losing my shit on somebody, and then someone writing an article about like, whoa, he lost his
yeah.
fucking shit, and I don't need to do that.
What is your
What? Did we just
drink
become best friends?
of choice and best hangover remedy?
Well, I'm almost 40 now, so there is no remedy for a hangover. It's just like, honestly, shit that I used to be able to shake off in a couple hours will fuck my whole month up now.
Maybe not
So-
remedy, maybe like favorite post drinking food to have the next day.
All right. Well, I do. So my favorite cocktail is a Boulevardier. Yeah, I'm 37, man. You were watching the fuck out, all right? I'm a fucking vampire. Don't mess with me. Invite me into your house. I'll never leave. So my favorite drink is a Boulevardier, which is 1 part bourbon, or rye, depending on how you're feeling. 1 part Campari, and then 1 part sweet vermouth. And I love that drink, but that's not like I'm about to drink 12 of these motherfuckers. That will seriously fuck you up. Don't do that. Have like one, like, if you're trying to impress somebody after a date or something and be like, I'll have a Boulevardier, and the bartender or, your server will be like, what? It'd be like a Boulevardier. It's like a Negroni, but with bourbon, and they'll be like, whoa, this guy knows shit. Or gal, or what, whatever.
Feels super fancy
Um,
going up and ordering that. Like,
yeah.
take a Boulevardier.
Um, I think it's the perfect balanced cocktail. I think it's amazing. I love it. Um, but I've noticed as I got older that if I could stay, if I'm just drinking Rainiers or like Miller Lights or something like that, I do love some shitty beer. I don't need all the fancy stuff. I'll drink one Boulevardier and then it's on to the Miller Lights. Let's go. Um, but as far as the hangovers are concerned, if I'm just not completely like debilitated from it, it's like gotta be like protein, right? So it's like I don't ever really eat this, but like bacon and eggs will be a come around for me. And then just a lot of coffee and then a bunch of fucking water.
Oh yeah, chug of that shit.
And why does and this is some soft, super sensitive shit. But why does snuggling feel so much better when you're like super hungover? It's just like you get the dog, you get the lady. The kid he squirms too much, so you can't really snuggle with him. But like, you get all the snuggly thing. It just feels way better when you're like, hey, why am I cold for some reason? And my head feels like a blimp, and I'm just like, wow, this is so soft. Everything is better.
That's a mood.
Or if it's snugglier. Yeah.
That's like I mean, depending, maybe not Sunday morning mood, but whatever day you wake up hungover, it's kind of like Sunday morning vibes.
I'm adding snuggles to my hangover cure. Right?
Hangover cure, lots of snuggles.
Yeah. You can't eat them, but I do think that they help towards your healing.
Hey, can we get some hype in the chat for Karma? Happy birthday, Karma! It's Karma's birthday. And it's also my sister's birthday.
Damn, happy birthday.
Sam?
Sam, okay, I was going to come up with a random name, but it would not come close to Sam.
She's actually the one that introduced me to you way back in the day. She got real good taste in music.
That's awesome.
But, anyways, let's see what else we got here. So, you're a foodie, kind of, I think. You like to cook?
Yeah, well, that's what I was doing before music, is I was working in fancy restaurants and all that good shit. So, yeah, I dabble.
What is like your favorite dish then? That you like to cook or eat or both?
Ooh. Damn.
I'm trying to get different with these questions because I feel like you get asked probably a lot of the same shit.
Well, you're not gonna ask me where I see myself in 5 years?
Yep. There you go.
Tell me what it's like to know slug. I'm quite interested. Favorite dish. That's not my impersonation of you, by the way. That's just like,
yeah, just people in general.
Favorite dish. Damn. I feel like that is like, it's like this ever-changing.
I feel like favorites are hard to answer.
They are, but let's just go with what I'm really into right now. And that would be a Filipino dish called machado. And it is like this kind of, the reason why I'm really into it is because my lady's mother makes it, and it's like, the first time I had it, I was just like, what the fuck is this? Like,
holy shit.
What is this? What the hell? Like, I don't know what I mean. I love it. Like, I love it. What is it? And I had like just no idea. And so, eventually, like, especially when we had the kid, she would come over and I'd be like, hey, could you bake me some machado? And then I was like kind of peeking over her shoulder. And, I was like, okay, I want to know. But she's, old Filipino lady, so she's not going to tell me straight up how she's doing it. So I was like taking pictures of the pot every time she added something to it. because I was just like, how many garlic cloves is that? And she was like, that many. And just like threw them in. So I was like, you know, like counting it,
Yeah.
and then I was, you know, tasting when she was done. I tasted it and I just tried to like sear it into my memory, and then I just deconstructed it over the past like several months. I had like worked very hard at like making it, tuning it in to get it so I could do it every time instead of just like "Meow," which is what she was doing, but she just like muscle memory, you know?
Mhm.
Um, and so ultimately it is like just this like hyper cooked down like beef dish where you take like a whole onion, garlic, whole peppercorns, because in most Filipino cuisine they just, you know, it's the whole peppercorn. Um, a very specific kind of margarine, which is really hard to find. It's called star margarine, but it's got a bunch of vitamins in it, which is crazy. It's got like vitamin B and like it's wild. And then you know like beef stock and you know a couple other things. And you just you julienne the onions, you cut them into strips, whatever. You could do whatever. Just don't dice them, I guess, or do whatever the fuck you want. And then you don't. So you put it all in except for the tomatoes, and you just cook it down to nothing. And you don't like you do stir it a little bit, but like eventually it's all gone. Like it just literally cooks away whole garlic cloves. It cooks away whole pieces of onion, and it just becomes this like sauce. And then you add the
Ooh.
tomatoes, and it cooks down again, and you just have this like beef paste kind of thing, and you put it over rice, and I love it.
Ooh. That
It's
sounds
really
good as
fucking good.
hell.
It's super hearty. That would kick a hangover in the dangly parts. It would that's just rice and like beef paste pretty much. Um, right in the dangly parts for a hangover. Um, so yeah, I like that. I mean, classic. I love like a really, you know, well done roasted chicken. I think is like for me is like a very like comforting thing. Um, but when I travel, I I'm one of those people that can justify spending like you know $200 to $300 on a meal, um, because I not because I got it
You could
like that,
write it
but because
off, right?
well yeah like a percentage of it, but like instead of me like going to a nightclub or you know like I that would be my form of entertainment. You know, like people travel
Mhm.
and they have some money set aside for them to fuck off with. That's my fucking off. Like I am perfectly fine like going and like trying to get my name on a waiting list before you know my travel starts, and I'm happy to spend the money. And I love going to restaurants where it's pretty clear that you're paying for the service, because I like to be treated well. I like to go to a place and just feel like it's the ambiance, you know, like I'm into it.
Yes.
Because I understand how much it takes to go to create that experience evenly for everyone. That's a lot of fucking work. And if you can do that consistently to the point where you're winning awards for it, I want to eat there. I want to know what it's like to be there.
Mhm.
Um, so that's definitely a thing. And I feel like my palate is like wide enough for me to be happy with anywhere that I go. I'm down with eating from a food truck, and I'm also fine, you know, eating a $400 meal where everything's bite sized
Mhm.
and I can't pronounce. I'm into that.
So, tattoos. How many do
Yeah,
you have?
I don't know. That not like a lot, right? Like I'm not like you know, I'm not like blasted or whatever the fucking tattoo people
Tatted up.
say. But I got a few. I have like here, I'll try to count.
What's
Most of
like,
so
do you
most
have
of
a
them all
favorite? Or what's like your most recent?
this one for my son. So
Aw.
his nickname is Goose. So because when he was first born, when he was breastfeeding, he sounded like a goose. He was like it's super fucking weird, but um so he's Goose and his name's Roman. So we got his birthday in Roman numerals.
Aw.
And my partner has the same tattoo, so it's like, I don't know. It's the most like significant. Um, I mean, I got a tattoo of my dog too on my
Oh,
um
hell yeah.
leg, and then I have a tattoo actually for every album I've ever made. Although it's not the album art, it's just like a
Yeah.
homage to that album. So for Together Apart, I have this like really big compass because that was kind of like the beginning of my journey. Um, for Winter and the Wolves, I got this big old surly wolf on the back of my calf. And then for Running Wild, blackout drunk in a Marriott hotel at like 4 in the morning, I got the skull. My nipples just went on your Twitch. Hopefully, you don't get arrested
I'm getting
for that.
arrested right now. The SWAT team's
but
coming.
but yeah, I got that one. I got like a Star Wars one on my thigh. I got the word Saturday on my other thigh, also super drunk. I got a frog with angel wings um, flying into heaven because on tour when we were coming down from Canada into the top of North Dakota, for some reason, like just a biblical proportion amount of frogs, like all
Oh
over the
my
fucking road,
god.
and it was the middle of the night, and it was
Oh
just a
shit.
massacre. It was a
No.
frog massacre. It was so bad. There were
Oh
so many
no.
frog guts on our trailer that we couldn't pressure wash them off. Like and
Oh.
it was a U-Haul rental, so fuck them. Like, did they get the frog guts off? I don't even know how they did. They must have had to pour like gasoline and just burn
Just burn it.
it off.
Write it off
But it
as a
was
loss.
so many frogs were killed that day to the point I felt quite bad about it. Um, and so my buddy Mouse Powell and I, we were on tour together, and we were in Sacramento towards the end of the tour, and I like posted a tweet. I was like, "Does anybody know where to get like a tattoo in Sac? Like, feel like I just want one." And there was somebody there that was like, "Actually, I work at a shop, and we could go there after the show." And she drew up these cute little frogs, just like super bummed out, just like it's not gonna
That's
happen.
fucking great.
So, so I got that one.
I mean, not
That one's
great
pretty
that they
cool.
died, but.
Yeah, it was a bummer for sure, but I don't know. They're all kind of like that. None of them are like. I got a optical compressor tattooed on my shin that says "on the level" because it's a leveling compressor and it's on the
Hey.
level. Um, I think, and underneath that, like a quarter of my shin is just like big letters. It says like "paid in full." Like I got just a bunch of random
Yeah.
like that'll be a good idea.
Yeah.
So I don't know,
All right.
15ish, 15ish.
I
We're gonna
wasn't
wing
really
it.
sure, to be honest. I knew you had a handful, but really no.
Also, a couple of my buddies are tattoo artists, and when you hang out and you got nothing else to do, and then all of a sudden you become a fucking post-it note for them, and you get a little doodle, and then you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh shit. I used to date a tattoo artist, and we found her tattoo gun. She
Oh
had like left
no.
it at my house, and I used to do this thing called Wednesday Friends Day
What?
because I was
We just
touring so
become
much
best
that I felt
friends?
like I was not tapping in with my homies. And so when I was home, Wednesday was for the gang. And so everyone would come over and I would cook everyone dinner. I'd spend all the money, I'd buy all the booze, I'd cook everyone dinner, and we'd get pretty drunk. And found found the tattoo gun. We all tattooed hearts on ourselves because that's what a bunch of dudes do when
Hell
they
yeah.
they
Of course. What
and
else?
so me and some friends got some matching heart tattoos
That
because of it.
bromance.
It was some serious bromance, but happy to have it.
Just get a grocery list, dude.
Yeah, that could happen.
Could happen. You never know. What are your pet peeves? Or something that offends you?
Well, a pet peeve of mine is, have you ever gone to like a pho restaurant and there's just like some motherfucker just
Oh shit. Yep.
just sucking its dick, just sucking the fuzz dick.
Yep.
Like, I cannot focus. I cannot.
That's
I
a
go into. I just want to do the same thing from when I was getting booed on stage. Like, it. And I don't know why I keep getting put in situations. Like, now I just order it to go, because then I don't have to deal with that shit.
Well,
But,
like fuzz specifically, do you know that that's like respectful or like you're supposed to do that?
yeah, but not when the fucking old postman, corny old fucking white postman is doing it. Like, it's just because he's an animal. It's not because he thinks that he's, like, paying respect.
Yeah,
I've heard it with,
yeah.
like, ramen. You know, I've heard it with ramen that it's, like, paying respect and shit
Yeah.
like that. But no, this guy's just a fucking monster. It's never that.
An excuse to just eat like a
Like
caveman.
a fucking heathen. Yeah. So that's clearly a huge one for me. I don't know. I'm gonna just go with that. That's a solid one.
Alright, I got like 3 more for you. We can
Ready.
wrap up. How do you take your coffee?
Well, I didn't start drinking coffee until my 30s, when my body was like, "Oh yeah, shit, we're tired.
Yeah.
We're
It's
tired,
time to wake
dog.
up."
Can you do something about this?" And so I don't actually enjoy coffee at all. I'm an iced mocha man myself. If I had to, um, that is how I enjoy my coffee. I like me an iced mocha. Although I do, some people, like, you go to the nice coffee shops and they fuck up a good thing. They try to make it too. They fuck it up. They like, so we didn't use chocolate. We used this like compound of like cacao and like ground up organic cigarette butts and like like a bunch of other shit that you didn't want. We're putting that in here, and that is our mocha. And also this coffee is like fair trade Guatemalan ground. It's like, yeah. But what else did you put in there?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
and our ice cubes aren't actually made from water. They're spit. They're like frozen spit that we have from cows that are on our own farm. We own our own farm. It's an urban farm, so it's really our garage, but like it's the spit from our garage cow, and we freeze that, and we just think it kind of rounds the whole tobacco taste off of it. We don't know, but that's our mocha. It's gotten a few reviews. People seem to really like it. I don't do that shit.
So just like
you know,
basic, normal ice mocha.
give me a cold chocolate milk, pretty much.
Yeah,
Give me
yeah,
cold
chocolate milk. If you could put some
Give me
caffeine
cold
in that.
chocolate milk coffee. I'm pretty happy with. But I am starting. So my lady loves good coffee, and I can finally taste the difference between shitty coffee and good coffee, and it's mainly on the nose. Like, you can smell, like, just smelling the beans. It's like, here's a 40-pound bag of Starbucks that I got from Costco for $1, and then it's like, here's a $15 coffee bean.
Yeah.
I can definitely tell the difference. It's just my body doesn't really give a shit.
Yeah.
It's like, it wakes me up, it immediately makes me shit,
Yeah.
and then it just there it
It do
is.
be like that.
It does be like that.
What was your first car?
My
Or like,
first,
what did you learn to drive in?
okay, so that's a little different. I learned to drive on my girlfriend's F-150 stick shift.
Oh, hell
Um,
yeah.
So she taught me how to drive on her truck, because I was into super badass, females, that drove trucks, I guess, at that time in high school.
Good taste.
And she taught me how to drive stick because she thought it was kind of bitch made that I didn't know how. So she taught me how to drive stick on her Ford F-150, and Um, yeah, so but that wasn't my car, that was her car. And then my first car was the complete opposite. It was a 1998 red Toyota Corolla. Um, but it was 1998. I got my license in like 2000 or some shit. Like I got my license a little late because I had done some shit that legally prevented me from getting my license. And I had to go through a series of things before I was granted legal freedom again. Was that good? Was that worded well? I feel like that was a really good way of avoiding I was a piece of shit kid. I got in a lot of trouble.
Being good doesn't make for good stories.
No, but then I've met some good kids that, like my keyboard player. He was a good kid, and he's like, "Oh yeah, man. When we were kids, we used to run around in the backyard. My dad would come out with fucking lemonade, and it's like everybody was partying in my house, and it's like the house had this little secret room, and we would kick in and play video games in there and shit, and like it was tight." And I was like, "Whoa!" I was like, when I was 16, I was high on acid, and I broke into a pawn shop and stole a bass guitar because because we thought Y2K was a thing, and we thought it was gonna be like an international blackout. So, and of course, you gotta add psychedelic drugs to that, so that helps.
I forgot about that, the Y2K thing.
Oh yeah.
That was funny.
Note to self: don't take copious amounts of acid if Y2K ever happens again. It was a bad idea. I'm just saying, it was a terrible fucking idea. There was a lot of blood. Like, it's just not cool. And blood and acid don't work out either. It wasn't my blood, but like we're not. Yeah. I didn't do that. Wait, can I? It's been 10 years.
I'm trying to see. Maybe I can do 2 more.
I'm here for it.
Were you popular in high school growing up?
This is a 2-part answer because first, no, because I had a very special set of skills. I was doing some shit that was a bit above where kids I was doing some sketchy shit in high school, and that was scary for some people, and I was definitely kind of on the outcasty side of things until I got arrested, and and I got expelled from high school, and I didn't have a lot of friends, and people's parents probably didn't want them kicking it with me and shit like that. But
drugs are really expensive.
Yeah, not when you're selling them.
There you go.
I don't do. First of all, I like
drugs.
Smiled and like there was like a little teeth gleam when it's like, do not fucking do that.
Yeah. This is a threat or a promise?
Both. I was given a second chance, and I went to a much smaller alternative high school that was pretty much ran by the students. So like they decided whether or not that you needed to be there, and you like went through this like interview process, and then you had to go through like a 6-week program before you actually went into the school, and it was called Discovery, and it was pretty much just like emotional boot camp where it was like, oh, do you think you're the shit? Because you're not, and you just you're the same as everybody else here, and you need to get on that level. And that was huge for me. I was receptive to that, and that actually I would credit that as like a big part of my life. And then within that school, I wouldn't say I was popular. I was just saying that everybody knew each other and we were all friends. And that was also part of it. Like if you fought at that school, like if you got in a fight, you were gone. And being gone from there mainly meant jail for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So we respected that. And when you had issues with another human being, it was handled by peer mediation, which means, and there was a closet, like a big closet, because the school was pretty much an old house. So we sat in a closet, and you would sit with a peer mediator, and you'd kind of hash it out, and you could say how you felt. You know, you didn't
Damn.
have to like tiptoe around it. You could just be like, honestly, I don't fucking like you. Like,
That's
and
the best way to handle it sometimes. Just
yeah, and it
gotta.
was hard because we weren't used to communicating like that, right? Because I feel like at that point, like our parents told us we couldn't do that because it wasn't polite, and like here's
Yeah.
this and here's that. But we were all kind of emotional disasters to begin with, and that's why we were there. Um, and it really helped. And it, even if you didn't like somebody, you had an understanding that you guys were gonna get along, and you talked about that, you know. Um, and you were able to communicate those feelings with each other, and that's a huge part of being an adult too. um, so that kind of carried on with us, and you know, my manager went to that school with me, so you know, I've made lifelong friends from that. So it's not that I was popular there, it's just that, you know, we were all homies, and I did happen to go on to be rather successful. So there is like a, I don't know. People remember me from high school sometimes, but I don't necessarily remember kicking it, I
Yeah.
guess.
I feel like you probably get that. Like, more maybe not so much from the second school, but the first school be like, oh yeah, I knew him. Like we were cool, and I
Yeah,
don't know.
well, that's where my communication skills come in, where it's like, as far as I'm concerned, one of y'all motherfuckers snitched on me, and until I figure it out, all of y'all can kiss my ass.
um, I feel like we did hit on a lot of these, so let's just. All right. Do you have any? This is like such a broad question, but do you have any advice for anybody aspiring to be a musician? This is
Dude,
so
I,
general.
well, here, so my advice it can be applicable anywhere, I think. Um, so when we set out to do something, we are inspired by things and people and, you know, shit like that. Whatever. There's something that happens in our life that makes us want to do something, and that thing is normally provided by similar things, and we get influenced, and we even borrow from those things to help create our own version of that. And I think that that's super important to allow yourself to do it. And I think that that is like all the stair steps to originality and creating a genuine version of yourself. And you know, if we have to talk about music, like authenticity is the most important thing when you're trying to create something for yourself, because I can go and replicate what I'm hearing, and that does work for some people because, you know, maybe they look differently or they behave differently, and they're able to just make fuck all art like everybody else and just kind of like fit into, I don't know. But like ultimately, if we're just talking about something that's gonna set ourselves apart, and create happiness for ourselves, because this is something we're gonna have to continually do, right? So we want to be happy with it. I'm not doing this to make you happy. I'm doing this to make me happy. Um,
Yep.
it's a benefit that it makes you happy, and I should respect that benefit, and I should respect the things that I do that make you happy. But ultimately, this is my thing, and I love it, and I get to do this when the lights go off. You know, I get to do this when the name disappears and the streams stop happening. I still get to sit in this room and I get to do this, and I probably make the best music of my life when I do that. But it's because it makes me happy. It's because I have an authentic voice within what I do. I'm not doing this because I want to be somebody. I'm not doing this because I want to be like them or be like you, or you know, whatever word you want to use in that. um I'm doing this because it is something that I think I'm best at, um and I have been fortunate enough to have a life in this realm, but I'm not changing what I'm doing to make myself more palatable. And I'm doing the thing that comes naturally to me. And I've gotten beat CDs from people that it's like, these are all bangers. All of these are hit songs. I can't do any of these. Like I don't know what I would do. Like literally none of this speaks to me because that ain't me. Like these aren't me. It's not that I'm not capable of making a hit song. It's just that I'm not capable of doing that. And I
feel
love
that.
that. I love to palate that. I like to take that in. I like to listen to that, but I don't actually make that. So I'm not going to put myself over that because I think if I do that, I put myself over that. I try to be that and I give it to you and you hear that, you go, well, this isn't him. This isn't, you see through that. And I get so much music from people that are like, I need your honest opinion on this. And it's like, you really don't want it because you are trying to make you are sending me what you think I want to hear, which automatically means I don't want to hear it. Like, you aren't sending me the music that you are happiest with. You're sending what you think I'm going to be happy with. That's not how I think anyone should make art.
I agree.
And I think that can be translated into pretty much anything. You just got to move some words around, but keep the same energy. And that doesn't mean that you will be successful. It just means that you will be happy, which is
Yes.
another version of success. But it does not guarantee a career for you. It doesn't. There is no answer to that. I couldn't tell you what to do. I could give you some examples of what I've seen work for other people. I can give you
Yeah.
examples of what I've did, and you can kind of stick to that if those situations come up for you. But it's like, what am I going to say to you? Tour your ass off, and you'll be like, how? Or you're going to be like, cool, can I go on tour with you? And I'll be like, no, because you don't have any experience. And then they'll be like, well, how do I get experience touring? If I'm supposed to tour, but you're not going to put me on tour if I don't have any tour experience. And it's like, yeah. So I don't know. Like, I don't know how to help you. But I can say that if I listened to your music and I heard your music and I was like, this is awesome, I'm bringing you on tour whether or not you have experience. I'm not giving handouts to people just because they want something. Everybody wants to,
of course,
to do something that isn't their normal everyday thing. That's not really my shit. I just, if I find like an authentic, and this has happened so many times in my career, and those people don't grow on to be famous people. A lot of my favorite musicians that I've toured with hold down 2 jobs and shit, and like music is a frustrating thing for them. But when I listen to their records, I hear this authentic, wonderful, beautiful music. Opposed to, we'll go on tour and we'll have like local openers and shit, and I'll hear their music and it's like, this is so fake to me. And we get people emailing us stuff all the time, and it's just not authentic, real music. And I think if that's what you're putting out to the world, don't expect a great response from people. And that is beyond music. It's just, if that's the energy you're putting out there, you're not going to get the best response. So
I feel like at the end of the day, if it, you want your, hypothetically, you want to be a streamer, you want to be a musician or whatever, at the end of the day, if it didn't work out for you, would you have felt like you wasted your time? If the answer is no, keep doing it. Like, you gotta do it, you do have to do it for you, first and foremost.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not successful on this platform at all. If I based things off of just success, I shouldn't be on here anymore. But I do enjoy it. I like the little community that I built, and I'm not comparing it to other things. I'm happy with my experience within this. If it grows, it grows. If it dies, it dies. But until then, either one of those things, I'm just gonna keep it going. I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing because I actually really do enjoy. Like, I look forward to Monday happy hours. I love the conversations that I have with people here on Wednesdays. Um, and I'm having one here with you, but like, I have a thing where I talk to people where I try to engage them in conversations to kind of let people know more about what it is that we do,
Mm-hmm.
to kind of enlighten them a little bit more than just like being like, okay, this is your new record. When's the next one? Oh, when are you coming to Salt Lake City? And be like, I literally just played there last night. Yeah, but when are you coming again? Because I couldn't make that one. Because like I had to work and shit. You're like, I don't
Well,
know, a fucking year,
yeah.
maybe. So it's like, here's what goes into it. Here's what goes into everything. Here's a total unveiling of what you think can just um and I think that's cool. And I'm actually learning a lot from talking to some of the people that we have on. And I'm not doing it to be successful on Twitch. When I was trying the music stuff on here, it was harder for me to enjoy it. And I love. To me, I think it's a great platform to just have wonderful conversations with. So
Definitely. I'll have to make sure that I host you. I'm sure a handful of my people and my chat would love the happy hour shit and
hey,
the
we'll
hangs.
teach you how to make some cocktails. I didn't know how to make a cocktail to save my life until last year when we started doing this, because I was like, man, I wish I could go have like a drink with a friend. And so my friend in Reno and I were like, dude, we should just like do happy hour. And I think we were talking about like doing it on Zoom or something like that. And I was like, well, we should just do it on Twitch, and then you can teach me how to make the cocktail, and we could teach other people to make the cocktail, and it'll be like we have a whole squad of people.
Might as
And it turned
well.
into like a thing. I like it.
It's a vibe. All
It's a
right.
vibe.
I got my last question for you.
All right.
This one's kind of basic, but I feel like it's a good one. If you stumbled across a magic lamp and a genie popped out, what 3 wishes would you ask to be granted, and no wishing for more wishes?
I
It's
would
a big
wish
one.
for no more cancer. No more.
That's a
Cancer's
good one.
gone. It's off the menu. Cancer's gone. It's off the menu. No more sick babies. No more fucking little, 6-year-old kids fighting for their life with their head shaved.
For
No more
real.
of that shit. That's gone. We're not doing that anymore. Cancer's gone. It can't be replaced with some other shit. Just cancer's gone. And then, we'll let other things stay. Cancer, off the team. I would ask for an abundance of wealth. Um, because that allows me to do a multitude of things that would allow me to have the time to be there always for my son. It would allow me to teach my son to help other people, so I could just go full on into just like philanthropy and just helping people, just getting money where money needs to be, because it's not a thing that happens with people that got a lot of money. They like to get it to the other people with a lot of money,
Yep.
to make sure that everyone that has all the money keeps all the money. I would, I want that Bezos money, and I want fucking Bezos shining my shoes. Um, yeah, maybe that would just be my wish, is to just swap bank accounts with Jeff Bezos, so he can have mine, and I can have his forever, and he can fucking learn a thing or two about a thing or two. Motherfucker. And then, my last wish.
World peace. I'm just kidding.
I mean, of course,
I
but
just
like,
feel like no, those people that would just answer like
well, no, there is like a balance,
yeah.
like, oh,
It would
I don't know.
almost be like, I don't even know. Twilight Zone. There was nothing bad ever happened anywhere.
Yeah, it would feel like one of those like Pleasantville movies, right? I mean, just like,
Yeah.
hello, good day to you. Just to eradicate the idea of like negative energy is just impossible. And I think there is like, for some reason, there has to be an importance to it. You know, like it is balancing the scale. So although it, you know, we don't love it. We don't love it. I don't know what my third wish would be entirely. I feel like I don't want to fuck this up. But they're my wishes.
Yeah, they're
I've
your
already
wishes.
asked.
It doesn't fucking matter what anybody else thinks.
Both of my wishes have a worldly impact. Although one, you know, I'm
The
rich.
first
and the second one,
boom.
the first one is a must. Okay.
Across
Like,
the board.
If you got to take all my other wishes away except for one, then that one's got to stay. It has to stay. The other one, you know, haphazardly I become rich in this one, but it's because I'm gonna do some cool shit with the money, right? Yeah.
For sure, man.
And then the third one would be, I mean, I'm rich, there's no cancer, shit's good. I would want some sort of ability. I want to breathe underwater.
Ooh, yeah. Like a superpower.
Well, yeah, and then I'll have to waste all my money that I got, all that fucking rich money that I have, with like fishing gear. I could just go down there and get a motherfucker. You know, I could just, I'm Kevin
like,
Costner in Waterworld.
Teleporting. You could just fuck off with the airports and shit.
It's green, you know? It's helping the environment. Oh, I guess maybe that would be a wish, is to like revert all the fucking damage that we've caused. To maybe like stack on another million years of humanity or something like that. That would be mine. Us unfuck some things, environmentally.
Yeah, man. We're fucking a lot of shit at the moment.
Yeah.
But anyways, I feel like this was great. This has some good questions. Thank you for being on today. I really, really appreciate it.
Like I said, I'm happy to have these conversations. It's
Make sure you guys go show him some love on Spotify, on Twitch, on Instagram. Check out his stuff.
You guys do you. No pressure.
No
I'm just
pressure.
happy to be here and connect with you. You know, next time I'm gonna have to ask you some questions, because you do some shit that I don't know anything about, right? So there's a whole lot of shit that I can learn about the cosplay world. And I've already picked a gem up from you earlier about the streaming stuff, how you just like got some shit off an Etsy page, and I'm over here like looking for like animators and like losing all my money.
Fiverr, Etsy.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? I got questions.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to be here, and most importantly, I'm happy to have conversations outside of like just kind of the air of like hip hop dudes and like hip hop interviews and music interviews, and they're so one dimensional, and they go to the same group of people that like don't really give a shit, and it's like, I don't know. This seems like such a more organic way to have a conversation. I'd rather talk with somebody that's genuinely interested about what I'm doing
than just for their own like platforms or news show or
like
whatever.
My publicist convinced you to have a conversation with me that you don't want to have, or some shit like that. And you ask me the same questions that you ask everybody that you talk to. So
yeah, like not to be selfish, but I'm doing this for me because, like I said, you're one of my favorite artists, and I don't know how much my own platform knew about you, but I hope it says a lot, because one of my favorite artists, so I hope you guys enjoy him just as much as I do.
Well, thank you for sharing me with your community, and I hope that I can return the favor when I get you on here asking you some goddamn questions.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because I
do have some cocktails.
I do an interview show on Wednesdays, and I would love to have you on. I think it would be great.
Hell yeah. I'll be there. Let me know.
All right.
But also, if you know anybody, I'm doing this thing I've been wanting to do for a while. Haven't really been in a good place up until recently, and I wasn't anymore, but I'm pulling it off. I'm doing a little scholarship that hopefully continues to grow over the years to help somebody. Maybe, you know, get a leg up on what equipment or whatever they need to kind of go after what they want to do in life. So
I
if
love
you
that. You set this up yourself?
Yeah, it's been probably like a year or two that I've wanted to do it, but you know, making ends meet and stuff has been hard, so I finally got to a position where I'm making it happen, and I think I'm gonna try and do like make it an annual thing. Hopefully the amount will grow over time, but
Yeah.
yep.
Okay. Well, when we have you on Wednesday, whenever, I would love to get that patched in on our thing, and I'm happy to donate all of that to your cause. And if there's any way that I can spread the word of that or do some posting on any of my social media, I'd be happy to help you out. I think
Oh
that
yeah.
sounds great. I think
I
that's
just
super cool
really
that you started that.
really want it to go to the right person. I want to feel it in their email or their video and be like, "Yes." Boom.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And you will when you will, right? You know, that's just gonna happen organically.
But
And
we're
it's
gonna
gonna be
wait.
because of the authenticity of that human being. God damn it.
Hell yeah. I mean, I could be doing hot tub streams, and not gonna lie, that would probably be kind of fun. But
Dude, I love a hot tub. I don't think people want to see me in a hot tub, but I would like to be in one. And I am gonna do one. I don't give a shit. I'm gonna do a happy hour from the hot tub. Everybody can kiss my ass. I'm doing it.
hell yeah. But all right. Well, I will see ya on Wednesday sometime. Thank you for being here. And
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to do a little be right back screen because I will probably be back for a little bit to wrap up stream. So don't go anywhere, guys. But I'll be back.
Yeah.